There's a difference between the man who gives you money and the man who provides for you. Just because he got money don't mean that he's a provider. If he's not providing everything necessary in order for you to feel comfortable and safe with what it is he does give you, or however it is he thinks he's contributing to your life, he's not a provider at all. If everything else about this man, outside of money or some type of bill being paid, negates you being able to enjoy the relationship, you being able to feel comfortable in the relationship, you knowing that you got somebody in your corner, no matter what, ups and downs, in y'all good times and bad times, he's still respecting the relationship. You don't have a provider. You might have a sponsor. You might have a stream of income, but you don't have a provider. Like if you got a side hustle and that side hustle, gives you an extra $1,000, $1,500 a month, that's great, but that's not your provider. You see, the whole concept comes from whenever mommy and daddy took care of things and daddy went out and worked. Daddy was a provider because of his protection as well. He was a provider because if nothing was there, if the money somehow dried up, he would find a way. He was a provider because he would make things happen. He was a provider because he stopped making money if it required him to be able to be present for you at one of those things that you needed him to show up for. So understand there are multiple ways a man needs to provide. Provision is not just financial. It does include that, but it's not just financial. A lot of times that's why guys get it messed up and think, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm a protector and a provider. And they ain't really protected nothing, but I'm a provider too. You splitting the bills don't make you a provider. You paying all the bills. I know it's going to be controversial. Actually doesn't make you a provider by itself. That's a huge deal. I'm not here to minimize that. But to my fellas out there, let me say this. Your provision has to go beyond what's coming out of your bank account. And the reason why a lot of y'all are so insecure with your woman, thinking that she got to depend on you financially, is because you don't know your value outside of that. But if you were truly providing outside of just money, you wouldn't be so paranoid about the money going up and down. You wouldn't feel like she's after the next man with a little bit more money than you. You wouldn't constantly have that worry. A lot of y'all have this self-imposed paranoia breathing down your neck that if you ain't got the money, then she ain't going to be with you because you don't even know your value outside of that. Or you're dealing with women who don't see your value outside of that. But let me say this. A real woman wants your provision to go way outside of anything just financial. A lot of times women they got that on their own. But if you're going to provide anything, make sure you're providing peace. And peace is not just the absence of drama and trauma and betrayal. Peace is the presence of protection. Protection and provision really go hand in hand, but peace is the presence of protection, knowing that you're good. Knowing that you're respecting the relationship, knowing that you're requiring others to respect the relationship, knowing that you're requiring others to respect her name whenever they speak on it. That's her peace, knowing that she can call on you if she's not okay. Knowing if she ain't got it, and it may be something around the house that she normally does, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, knowing that you got her back. Before you see her stretched thin, burnt out, and everything else, you're going to find a way to step in and make her life a little bit easier. That's not to say, she's supposed to just sit back, kick her feet up, and watch you burn out. But it's to say that the whole cornerstone of the relationship is partnership. Way more than it is just strictly financial provision. Emotional safety, that's provision. Consistent communication, that's provision. Active problem solving, that's provision too. Providing solutions, providing peace of mind. Y'all let me know if I'm tripping or if I'm speaking facts, ladies. But real women don't just want you to provide financially and that alone. That's not enough. That's a good start. That's a great contribution. But you know what's even better? If you address issues before they become an emergency in a relationship. If you acknowledge her feelings before they get to a point where she's ready to be 1 foot out the door, maybe even 2. That's even better. That's provision. Another way that you can provide for your woman is to provide direction. It's not just about being financially provisional. It's also about being directional. Does she have a clear understanding of exactly where the relationship is going and how you guys are going to get there? What's in the way of you guys getting to the next milestone of that relationship? And maybe the relationship is already marriage, but marriage is a starting line, not the finish line. So for the next level of connection, does she have a clear understanding of exactly how you guys are going to get there from you? Is there any strategic planning for how you guys are going to spend that more time that you're trying to spend, take those trips that you're trying to take? Or is it just vague promises and we should one day, I hope to one day be in position to? Provision is also directional. Provision means also teaching her as you direct her. Making the plan clear, taking definitive steps toward it. Provision is building something bigger than just the very next paycheck. Being proactive, not reactive, says Joyce. I agree with you completely. Provision is so much more than just the financial. It's support. And not even, and of course emotional, yes, but not even just emotional, structural. If you can come in and create a system for reducing her stress on a day-to-day, if you can come in and show her and help her create a system to prevent her from being burnt out or help y'all get more sleep, anticipate her needs, removing obstacles, this is provision. I'm really telling y'all because a lot of guys don't know how they can add value to a woman outside of their money, because that's all we ever grew up hearing. A lot of times that's all you grew up seeing in your own household was a man that made the money, and every other way in the relationship, he just completely sat back and let the onus of the relationship fall on the woman. It's a new day and age. It's time to evolve beyond that. If you're truly going to provide, understand, you can comfort her, yes, in times of stress, but real provision will prevent those times of stress to the best of your ability, again, with systems. And sometimes it's not just physical, it's environmental too. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But being able to create a safe space for you to be vulnerable, where you're not worried about him constantly going to be defensive, constantly being critical, minimizing, sarcastic. Providing, that's what safe space to be vulnerable is, where she doesn't leave that space feeling discouraged to bring up those concerns that she has. Being a reliable presence, consistency, this is all provision. This is a provider. It's not about if you're going 50-50 on bills or if you're going 100-0 on bills. Can you put that woman in a position where she never has to question where she stands in your life? That's provision. Can you provide her with steps or resources to help her grow? Not just you on a personal level, but mutually. Meaning, do you invest in her development? We ain't talking about just blowing the bag on her having a nice, purse or, getting her hair done today. No, like, do you invest in her development? In her credit repair, in her business idea, do you invest in that? Do you invest in her learnings? Do you invest in that? Maybe she needs a new laptop. Maybe she needs a new this. Do you invest in her development? Do you encourage her advancement? A lot of y'all struggling right now financially. You thinking that means that you can't do nothing provisional. That's a lie. Maybe you can facilitate an opportunity. Maybe you can help her look for opportunities that's going to put her in position. Can you provide her an acceleration to what she's already got going on? Personal growth wise, professional development wise. Y'all tell me if I'm tripping. I'm just crazy enough to believe that provision financially alone that's just a start. That's a part of it. And I understand as men, so many times we feel insecure because, the money is subject to so many different things. If you got a job, if your business is doing well, I get it. But there are some things 100% in your control. You never have to stop being a provider just because the money is up and down. And a real woman is going to see your provision if you're really showing up outside of just the money, even when it's going up and down. Joyce says, I can't even mention my business ideas or anything because he gets triggered. Too insecure about your growth. Too threatened by it. Because he probably defines himself by his money and your dependence on his money. Resources aren't just monetary, they're multiplicative. Meaning, they don't look to just put money in your pocket today. They look to connect you to new networks. They look to build your knowledge and skills. Like, that's provision. Are you trying to help her make any new introductions? I'm giving y'all the game plan right here, fellas. If you struggling to feel like you really, valued, or, because you paying this and paying that, but she acting like you don't do nothing, it might be because you're not being a true provider, even though you're a financial contributor. Are you investing the time and energy, maybe even challenge her on things that she's trying to learn to expand her mind? That's a form of provision. That's a form of you being present to provide, by the way. Are you providing an environment, like Joyce just said, the dude always get triggered? Are you working on yourself enough to not get in her way, so she's able to maintain mental clarity, so there's emotional stability in the house, so that there's spiritual alignment in the house? There's not this tugging force on her to go back to a version of herself that she's already outgrown. These are all forms of provision. I hope y'all picking up what I'm putting down. Don't think that just because you can or cannot pay bills, that's the beginning and end of your provision. Because whenever you don't, there is an impact. Any sisters out here, let me make sure you understand something. When a man does not understand the core principles, the core principles of provision, you're going to constantly feel like you need to overcompensate in the rest of the relationship, which that leads to burnout. And you might be wondering, why am I so exhausted all the time? Why am I so depleted all the time? Why is my spirit getting weaker? And he pays the bills, or at least half of them. It may be because he's not showing up outside of just that financial contribution. He doesn't understand what it means to be a provider. He may even resent you, or have you grow to resent him. That's why a lot of women think that they're independent when in reality, they've been let down by somebody who didn't know how to truly provide, and now they resent any man who even thinks he's going to try to provide, because they're so used to men who didn't understand the core principles of it. Women that are overly independent, women that tie their self-worth to being functional alone, not actually being okay, not actually being well, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. So watch for the red flags of a man that will celebrate your strength while exploiting it. These are men who typically don't understand what a real provider is. Or he has progressive views, evolved views that always benefit him and somehow minimize you, or put you in a space where you need to do even more to live that down, what he thinks about relationships today or women today. Shamika says, sounds like my first marriage. I'm knowing what I'm saying now. Be very mindful of men who are comfortable receiving, but very hesitant when it comes to giving. They're not even generous men. They might have money, but they're not even generous men. And of course, we know the men that want help, not love. They're going to rely heavily on your resources. Those are the same type of guys that call traditional provision, starting with the money, as outdated and it don't matter. No, there is some level of being outdated, but that doesn't mean you get away from it. That means you build on top of it. Quiet as kept, a lot of these guys are commitment phobes. They don't want to be in any type of committed relationship where they have to improve their core, improve their character in order to be equally yoked with you. So they find a way to make the love conditional, to make the transaction conditional on your money, or they want to minimize what they're supposed to bring to just money, if they even bring that these days. And these guys are afraid of commitment. Y'all be thinking that, oh, he's not afraid of commitment. He calls me his girlfriend. He said he wants to marry me. Okay, cool. But has he committed to growth and elevation so that he can help you grow and elevate in life? If not, you probably got a commitment phobe on your hands. And that's if he's willing to dignify the relationship. And I'm actually doing a live, y'all know, I'm doing a live masterclass today on how to spot and steer clear of commitment phobes, all 2025. If you want to join that masterclass, I'll put the link down in the comment section. Yes, live. I'm jumping back on. This won't be on Facebook. This will not be on social media. You have to register at the link down in the comments at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's going to be a nice one. We're going to take about an hour, hour and a half to deep dive so you never run into a commitment phobe again and get your time wasted, get your love wasted, get betrayed, get embarrassed, all of that. If you ever left a relationship with lover's remorse, feeling like, man, I should have never gave my body to this man, years to this man, months to this man, introduced him to my family and friends and took pride in being with him, you need to be on this masterclass because I'm going to teach you how to steer clear of those men who never were committed from the very beginning. Tonight, yes, tonight, live. The link is pinned down in the comments, also in the top. But moral of the story is this. When you're dealing with a man who thinks provision starts and stops at just the money, and when he thinks that, hey, I pay the bills, you better, carry the other 95% of the relationship. I took care of the money. Sometimes he don't even do that. Sometimes it's just, I took care of your car note. I paid the phone bill. Or you supposed to be independent. And he looks at that as an excuse not to provide on any level. You're dealing with a man who is at best ignorant, but more than likely opportunistic. He sees that you're willing to handle your part and that you want something so bad, you might even compensate to a degree for his part. But real providers don't need you to struggle in any aspect of the relationship in order to prove your worth. Real providers want to create ease across the entire relationship because that's just what they do. If you agree, hit the share button so we can spread this truth to more people. I'm your internet brother. Those are just my thoughts. And if you want to jump on this live masterclass again, there's about 30 more slots left because I'm only letting 250 people get in the room tonight so I can take all questions at the end. Yes, I'm doing a live Q&A where I'm actually going to answer each and every question, at least that I can, tonight on the live masterclass, how to steer clear of commitment phobes all 2025. I put the link right here. If you're not seeing it, look, press a little comment down there. I just posted it again. That link tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central. I'm doing a live masterclass. I want to see as many of y'all that can make it in there as possible, but seats are filling up soon, so hurry up. Also, it's in the caption.